seems like Star Wars has forgotten what Star Wars is, and now it's a little bit of the real world, as we say it, as included on it. So if you guys don't know, and gals, Andor, it's a new, I believe it's Tony Gilroy. He's the director. I think it's British, I believe, and he has come out with the second season of Andor. And my friends have watched it. There's been debate on both sides of the fence whether Andor is good, slow burn, worth it, or is it just all over the place gobbledygook modern day interpretation of things. Some people think it's a good thing. Some people think this is ridiculous. I'm not much for it. I haven't watched the first one. With all the stuff going on, the second one, I'm not sure if it's my cup of tea. So, but it does strikes me a little bit curious because as soon as the season started, it just started, I believe, last week, and there's going to be released in 3 episodes, and 3 episodes were released. But this is what they kind of lean with. I mean, this was the main push for it was this. This is what they were saying. Hey, this is what we want to push out there. And this is from the Hollywood Reporter. I guess they had an interview and said Andor creator explains that the shocking assault scene were, and then claims that we're all the product of assault. Or grape, as we say it in the interwebs, because science. So Tony Grilloid on why the SA attempt against an undocumented fugitive in the show seasons 2 premiere block was necessary to tell an accurate tale of revolution even within the Star Wars universe. Now, if you notice, there's a whole lot to unpack there. The article goes into basically explain that all fascist, dictator like places like the Empire are evil, and they want to show you how evil it is by saying that this undocumented world and planet thing, this beautiful Latina actress has to get abused. Now, this is the Star Wars that is supposed to be for a more mature audience. A lot of people are having a little bit of pushback on this also because it does say mature, but this is a rated 14 so this is for children that are 14 years old. It has been things like this has happened in certain things that are more for kids of that age, kind of like preteens, teens. Things like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, we had it in different shows. But we are seeing a turn. The Acolyte recent had some questionable things in it. But then they came out with Skeleton Crew. And Skeleton Crew and Andor have similar visuals, if you will say, to be promoted. So there's a question of Skeleton Crew, which is obviously geared towards children, and Andor, which is obviously geared toward adults. You're in the same universe, you're in the same brand. There is a bit of confusion in that, and I think that lends to, as parents, we have to be able to make sure that you are checking what your kids are watching, and your settings are hugely important. Hugely important. I can't tell you this enough. If you have Disney Plus, please make sure that your settings are correct so your kids can't get into this and watch things that are inappropriate. If you're like me, where you have cell phones and things like that are locked for certain things, I suggest maybe having the TVs and things like that in the living room where everybody can see it and stuff like that. But it does raise the question, who is Star Wars for in this new era? Is it for families? Is it not? Did we not think the Empire was evil enough when they destroyed a whole planet? Do we need to, get more desperate with this? And as an immigrant, do I want to keep being represented by this kind of thing to where I have to see somebody that looks like my cousins get treated like this? I, for myself, I'm not hyped to it. It's just not something um, that I think is needed for Star Wars. It's not working out for them because they're not getting the views that they need. And I do think that they kind of maybe have misplaced some of that vigor that I think they need to push this franchise forward. I don't think this kind of um, almost how we say like um, shock value for shock value sense is needed to push their message along. There's a lot of ways to do this. I think George Lucas did a lot of this where you would show something, an atrocity being committed, and then you would swipe away, kind of like uh, 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 like older horror action that used to be pulp in the day. So I do believe that there's a way to do this. I don't know that you want to lead with this, because that's what everybody's talking about now. Everybody's just talking about this. No, nobody's talking about anything else in the universe. Nobody's talking about the cinematography or anything like that. Well, there is some talk about it. I'll talk about it in a second. But we want to have a little bit more fantasy in our fantasy, maybe. This whole realism and nihilism that has been exploded onto the scene of our fantasy is not. I don't think it's going well. Some would say, "Hey, it's just for adults," and that's fine. I think with this problem with this one is it's more of a why you're leading with this one, and second, did you separate enough? Did you separate this enough from the universe to let people know this is adult content? And that I don't know if they did.